The 4 inland freight corridors that turn overseas chaos into empty shelves. Picture your county at hour 36 of a port-side disruption you never even saw on the news. The shelves aren't low. They're surgically missing the same categories: baby formula, antibiotics, diesel additives, packaging, animal feed. People blame hoarding. That's what the herd always says when they don't understand flow. Here's what's actually happening. One inland choke point just snapped, and your local inventory is nothing but math catching up. I pulled DHS route prioritization language, federal supply chain assessments, and the boring logistics failure points nobody screenshots until it hurts. 4 corridors. Each one is a single point vulnerability disguised as normal traffic. Each one has a repeatable failure mode you can blueprint in your own county today, using maps you already have access to. And each one has a trade-off the politicians don't say out loud. The fixes cost real money, or they cost elections. You'll get the corridor, the failure trigger, and the check you run in 15 minutes. And the last one on this list, the one that turns into a politics weapon when water rises, wait for it. Geography isn't your prep, it's your cage. Your supplies are just whatever the freight system can still push through your cage this week. The named enemy isn't one bad event. It's fragility by design, single corridors, just-in-time inventory, and funding that prefers ribbon cuttings over boring redundancy. The herd stockpiles food. You stockpile route intelligence. I filtered these corridors against 4 criteria. 1. They feed multiple states from a single inland seam. 2. They fail on repeatable triggers: ice, choke, theft, flood, not once in a century fantasies. 3. There's a named federal posture tied to them, like DHS prioritization or strategic expansion language. 4. The trade-off is concrete: truck parking shortages, 15 to 20% rail dwell time spikes, multimodal build-out costs, or political friction over usage rights. You're not watching this to memorize highways. You're watching this to map your county's dependency chain. Which corridor feeds your distribution centers, your fuel racks, your hospitals, your farm inputs? 4 corridors cleared. Here they are. Number 1. I-15 corridor, the bottleneck burden. It's not a highway. It's a choke point to chaos. Picture the I-15 like a valve in an artery. Los Angeles ports behind it. Interior markets ahead of it. When that valve constricts, your county doesn't run low. It stutters, then it blanks. This corridor moves goods from Southern California's ports inland. It's a single point of vulnerability because there aren't enough parallel paths with equal capacity, and because congestion is chronic even on a good day. Add the trucking parking shortage, drivers burning hours hunting legal rest, and you get delays that compound fast. DHS doesn't prioritize routes for fun. When DHS flags I-15 for enhanced security measures and emergency rerouting options, that's an admission. If this line snaps, the system needs a contingency script. Most people think shortages start at the store. But the failure starts earlier. Winter closures in Nevada, congestion, and parking scarcity turning one incident into a multi-day backlog. Now the trade-off. The obvious fix is alternative routes and more truck stops. The ugly part. It costs real public money and it's politically boring, so investment stays a governmental challenge while the choke point stays. A West Coast trucker put it like this: when I-15 freezes, the whole West Coast supply convulses. Number 2 hits the same west to interior flow, but with a different trigger. Winter as a siege weapon. I-80 corridor, the snowbound sentinel. This isn't just a road, it's winter's elite siege, 15 to 20%. That's the rail dwell time increase when this corridor gets hammered. Do the math on what that does to deliveries scheduled on tight windows. I-80 runs from California's port-driven freight flows through the Sierra Nevada and keeps pushing east. It's vital for east-west goods, and it fails the same way over and over. Winter storms make it impassable. Not slow. Closed. When I-80 closes, trucks stack up, detours overload secondary roads, and rail yards absorb what the highway can't move. That's where the 15 to 20% dwell time bump comes from. Inventory doesn't vanish. It gets trapped in the wrong place at the wrong time. Federal supply chain assessments call for significant infrastructure investments to keep year-round connectivity. Translation. The current build is not hardened enough to treat winter like a known condition. The trade-off is simple and brutal. Year-round reliability costs major capital, and it never fits cleanly into annual budgets because the pain spikes seasonally. So the herd forgets it every spring. A prepper from Aroostook said it clean. You either plan for the I-80's mood swings or learn the hard way. 2 corridors down. The next one isn't snow. It's density, rail and highway knots that turn one disruption into 30 cities choking. 2 corridors down. 2 to go. You've seen the pattern. The herd stares at shelves. You stare at choke points, closure triggers, and dwell time spikes. Now it gets uglier. The next corridor is a freight knot, Dallas, Houston, Austin, where urbanization tightens the channel and theft risk climbs right alongside it. And the last corridor? Water plus legislation. When it floods, the fix becomes a political weapon. Stay sharp. Number 3. Texas Triangle, the Commerce cul-de-sac. A freight knot that turns one disruption into a multi-city choke. Urban sprawl feels like growth until you need freight to move through it. Then it's a noose. Dallas to Houston to Austin and back, massive consumption, massive replenishment, and a corridor geometry that forces everything to share the same overworked seams. Here's the structural advantage and the trap. You're sitting on a multimodal concentration, interstates, rail yards, intermodal terminals, so volume looks resilient. It isn't. It's fragile density. When the U.S.'s National Freight Strategic Plan talks about national multimodal freight corridors, this is the kind of region it's quietly describing. Where one disruption doesn't reroute cleanly, it just migrates congestion to the next node. Now the trade-off nobody wants to fund. The fix is boring capacity, truck parking, grade separations, intermodal connectors, yard efficiency. That's billions in capital projects and years of construction pain in the exact metro areas where voters punish lane closures and property takes. A warehouse floor lead down near the Gulf Coast says it without poetry. When the triangle binds up, you don't wait a day. You start canceling loads and rationing dock time. Number 4 is the one I told you to wait for. Water plus legislation. And when it hits, it turns into a political weapon. Mississippi Corridor, the political punchline. When the river rises, the shortage becomes policy. Remember the opening, the last one, the one that turns into a politics weapon when water rises. This is it, not a highway. A river system that pretends it's optional until the day it isn't. The Mississippi River Corridor is inland freight on hard mode. Bulk commodities, fuel blending inputs, fertilizer feedstocks, grain, and barge to rail to truck transfers that your county never sees. You don't need to live near the river to be dependent on it. You just need to eat, drive, or run a hospital generator. The named instrument is federal control, and it's explicit. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers runs navigation management, dredging, locks, channel maintenance. When water levels swing, flood or drought, traffic slows, draft limits bite, and the cheap mode stops being cheap. Then the fight starts. Who pays, who gets priority, and which regions get blamed? Here's the trade-off in plain numbers. Dredging and emergency channel work costs real appropriations, and when Congress stalls, your resilience becomes a press release instead of a channel depth. A barge dispatch voice from the lower river puts it cold. When the river closes, the country argues. Your shelves don't care who wins. That's 4. Now run the pattern. These 4 corridors share one thing the other lines on your map don't. They concentrate national dependency into a few inland seams with repeatable triggers. Snow, metro density, parking scarcity, water levels. The herd treats shortages like mystery. You treat them like geometry plus policy, because freight doesn't fail emotionally. It fails mechanically, then bureaucratically. Here's the dark truth. Even when the engineering solution exists, the delivery mechanism is a budget line and a voting calendar. If the appropriation stalls, the choke stays. If the construction hurts, the project dies. Your reconnaissance is free. Pull up your county's biggest distribution centers and fuel terminals on satellite view. Trace which of these 4 corridors feeds them. Then pull the freight plan for your state and find the designated corridors and projects. Note what's funded and what's unfunded. Finally, watch river gauge and closure alerts in season, and watch mountain pass closure boards in winter. You're mapping tomorrow's rationing before it's announced. Geography doesn't take bribes either.